What up, YouTube? I got a quick video changing the fuel pump on the GTR. It's been a minute. See, I already disconnected the battery. Right there, there's the fuel line. I was diagnosing the problem. Quick way to do that: just disconnect that feed line, put a little water bottle on it, crank that car up, and if you're not getting any fuel out of there, that narrows it down for you. I'm thinking it's the fuel pump. It's a good time to upgrade anyway to a 450. I'll show you what I got in a second, but here's a fuel pump on the GTR. 4 bolts here. Disconnect this cover. You got 2 connectors. You go ahead and disconnect those. You can't really mix them up. You got a 3-pond and a 2. 3 and 2. You can see my little dust boot came off. I'll have to get that real quick. Put that back in here. There we go. And we have our feed and our return line. Easiest way to remember is just kind of take a picture of it mentally. You know, this connector is going to go on the left, this connector is going to go on the right. That'll be the easiest way. And then once we get these disconnected, I got to take this off. We'll just take a hammer and a screwdriver, knock it so it spins off, and then we'll pull the sending unit out. So I'll get that done and then I'll get back to you. All right, so another thing that I forgot to do, or almost forgot to do, you can see a little bit of fuel's coming out, is you want to depressurize the gas tank. The easiest way to do that is just to, there it is. Just go ahead and knock that out. That way we won't get a ton of fuel coming out when we pull this line off. Now there'll probably still be some fuel that comes out for sure, but it won't be as bad as, you know. There we go. Okay, here's one. Let's get this last one off real quick. I hate when I can't find my tools. Where do my tools go? Oh, here we go. Classic. Let's get this last one off. Do my best to kind of show you this process. There we go. Let's move these over to the side, kind of tuck them in a corner like that, and get them out the way. Now we need a hammer. All right, so this would probably be best done with a flathead. However, I can't seem to find my flathead at the moment, and I don't want to use my multi-tool to get it off, or my regular screwdriver with the different tips you can throw on it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and try it with this number 2 Phillips. We'll see what happens. Get right back to you. All right, so got it off. Now we should just be able to pull it off here. There is a piece of rubber. There it is. You want to make sure you try and do your best not to damage this sending unit. Not the sending unit, sorry. But you'll see there's 2 connectors on the bottom and 2 hoses, so we'll have to get those off. And you want to make sure you don't damage this, because this is how you're going to get your fuel level reading. If you bend these or break these, it could be pretty hard to find a new one. So I'm going to do my best to get this off. I'm going to put the camera down for this part and get all this off, and I'll get back to you afterwards. All right, y'all, so I got it out. So the way you get this thing out, first off, the pump is mounted. It's mounted in here, like so, right? This is kind of how the pump sits. If you look right here, there's a clip that you grab that clip, and it'll slide out of the holding unit, like that. And then you have this piece, which is mounted at the bottom of the tank, and you just want to grab it from the front and kind of tilt up and slide forward, and you can kind of see how it's connected. So just grab from the front, kind of slide it forward, and it comes right out too. And these are the hoses. These are your return line and your feed line that were connected to the outside of the tank when we first took that cover off. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this disconnected and then figuring out how we get the wire and everything taken care of, get everything transferred over, and it will be good. I'll get back to you. All right, y'all, so this is kind of what I'm working with. Got a TI Automotive fuel pump by Walbro, 450. So this will definitely get the job done. That car it's completely stock right now on stock ECU. So the ECU will take care of all the management, so it should still be good to run on it, but this is just future proofing. Eventually I'm gonna go at least 500 horsepower to the wheels at some point in time, and hopefully this should be able to take me the whole way through in terms of fuel management, or fuel supply. So go ahead and get this thing pulled out, figure out what we need to do to get it swapped over. I got that, and then like a little kit, see what I need to use in here. Trying to make this as painless as possible, so if I don't need to use it, I'm probably not going to. All these connectors, hoses, all of this stuff still looks really good. Looks like somebody may have been in here before. I'm not sure if that's from the factory or not. Probably not, so I don't know. We'll take a look and see. All right, everybody, so let me show you kind of what I'm working with. So here's the new pump. Now it's significantly smaller or thinner in some areas, so I'm gonna have to see how it mocks up inside of the carrier and see if it's kind of loose. May have to find some rubber or something to put around it to hold it steady, or zip ties. But this is the new one. All right, got your connector here, positive and negative, and then the kit I have has this, so we're gonna splice that in, positive and negative, and then I'm gonna drop this, put that down there. Then we have the old unit, so I won't be reusing this. I have a new one. However, if the new one does not fit inside of the new sender, this is it. I may reuse the old one, I'm not sure. We'll see. But this is the new one that came with it, so that's kind of cool. Got that. And then, probably shouldn't put that on the ground. So we'll get that disconnected, and then we have here, we'll reuse this hose, disconnect it here and connect it to the top of the new pump. And then as for this, the positive and the negative, we're gonna have to cut it. I'm gonna measure it out, see where I wanna cut, but we'll cut and we'll wire in the new ones here, say somewhere in here, probably somewhere in the middle, so that I can reconnect it to the top of the float tank. That's all the way over there. So the float tank. So that's what we're gonna do. Pretty simple job for the most part. Transfer most stuff over, clip, wire them in. I've got all the stuff I need, and then we'll go ahead and transfer over and see. So I'll get started on that, and I'll get back to you with the finished product. All right, fam. So I kind of skipped a couple parts, but the new fuel pump is installed. So what I ended up doing, I accidentally cut the wire in the middle, and I had to re-splice those two together. When you're doing the fuel pump, cut from the bottom. What I'm talking about is just start at the bottom right here. Give yourself as much real estate as possible. Just cut from the bottom off the fuel pump and then dike. I ended up cutting upwards towards the middle, and then realized that the wire that was sitting around right here had another ground sitting on it on the outside of the pump that I wasn't utilizing. So I had to re-splice that in. I made more work for myself than I needed to, but we got that fixed. Once I did that, I went ahead and mocked it up. The filter that comes on the bottom of the new pump doesn't fit really good inside the housing. The housing is actually designed so it's almost like a square, and then it kind of tapers in and then it widens back out, and that's how the actual filter is. So I just cleaned out the original filter as good as I could, let it dry, and then reuse that filter so that it actually sits in there a little bit better. And then from there, hoses, everything was connected. So now it's time to go ahead and put it in. I did test it to make sure it worked out. So if you want to know how to test it, you can just apply power to the pump itself to make sure the pump works. But if you want to make sure all the wiring works that you did, just get your sending unit, lay it down right here, and then pull your wires out while the fuel pump's sitting on top. You'll just pull that wire out, connect it here. The wire, that's the second wire, where is it at? This wire right here will connect to the bottom of the leveling unit. Once those two are connected completely, at that point in time, you will just, on the outside, you would connect these two wires to the two wires on top of this cover, and then turn the key and it should power up. All right, sorry about that, y'all. I had a phone call from the wife. Anyways, like I was saying, just once you get everything mocked up here, you can turn the key and you can hear the pump running. If the pump's running, you know all your wiring is good, and then from there you can just simply reinstall everything. So I installed it all as one unit on the outside. I didn't use the top piece that came on it OEM because it wouldn't work, so I just got a clamp and clamped it around. So what I did was I snapped the original backing piece onto the bottom feed right here, this right here. I just connected the snapping piece on, and then I put the fuel pump in there, made sure it was aligned good with the filter, and then I put the clamp on. And I did all this outside the car, that way it was a little bit easier on me. And then I dropped the whole thing in as one unit. It will fit if you drop it in as one unit. And then you just kind of feel around at the bottom of the tank for where those two little clips are that are mounted on the bottom of the tank, and then you just snap that whole unit in one go. Look at all that fuel. It's got my hands all ashy. Don't judge me, people. And you just snap it in all as one go. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and hook it all back up, and then we'll go ahead and give her a test fire, see if she cranks up. All right, I messed up. As you can see, that's full of fuel. You want to know why? Because halfway through I decided to put the gas cap back on because I was heading to go grab some parts. Well, now that I got everything sealed back up, that gas tank is pressurized, started to get ready to hook up the hoses, and yeah, it's full of fuel. So note to self, disconnect the gas tank filler cap every single time that you are going to seal that fuel tank up. As soon as I put that sending unit on, she started coming out. That's a shame. All right, I gotta get this cleaned up. All right, everyone, I didn't do the test fire because it was very uneventful, which is a good thing, but you see we're on the road now. Rather than Skyline in front of me, running pretty good, no problems. Cranked right up, so there it is. All right, I'll get back to you when I'm at the crib. We'll wrap this up. So here's the car. These all put together. Back from putting some gas in it. I know I never actually did a video showing the color, so I went with a TH1 dark blue pearl. It is a factory Nissan Skyline GTR color. I was going to go Bayside blue, but because Bayside blue is such a popular GTR color, it never came from factory on the 32s, but I've seen a bunch of them driving around. I decided to go with this, and I love this color. That dark blue pearl, it doesn't pop and stand out as much, which kind of is my thing. I'm more of a low-key guy anyway, so need to wash the car. That cover was on it, but I'll have to do a story. I'll wash the car maybe tomorrow, and I'll do a story on the paint job because I was not happy with the workmanship. The body shop that did the work did not do a good job at all. I mean, look at this. This came from the body shop like this. This was flush when I first got it, and that's how it looks now. From him probably just have it leaning and bending on something, so I got to take it somewhere and get that fixed. I'll take it to another body shop. I want to do all the seals on the car as well, get all the seals taken care of. But for those thinking about doing a fuel pump on a GTR, or really any car in general, fuel pumps are mostly the same. There's a couple things you should think about. First one, some lessons learned. All right, should have did this at the beginning of the video, but lessons learned. Make sure you disconnect the gas cap. before you disconnect any of the lines. You don't want all that fuel, pressurized fuel, coming out into your trunk, or if it's inside of your car, the inside of your car underneath the back seat. That would suck. Number 2, make sure you are clipping at the right points. Know where you're going to be diking your wires and give yourself enough real estate to get the job done properly. All right, I made a mistake and I clipped mines in the beginning, rushing. Just a rusty move. I haven't turned wrenches in about a year with the new job I got, so that was another lesson learned. Make sure you have that taken care of. Number 3, if you're gonna do this job and the car is running, you're just gonna upgrade the pump. Try and get as much fuel out of that tank as possible. Luckily for me, the fuel pump in my car went out right when the car was on E. That's probably part of the reason why. It's probably an old 25-year-old pump, and with it, you know, me running it down to the end, most of the pump wasn't sitting submerged, and it probably just burnt out, gave out its last bit. But make sure that you all are actually trying to get as much of that fuel out of the tank if you can, if it's an option, as possible. It makes your life a lot easier. You've seen how much fuel is in my tank. That's with the car on E. Now imagine if you had a full tank of gas, you're pretty much almost up to your elbow would be submerged in gas trying to get that thing out, which wouldn't be fun. So there's another one. Make sure the battery is disconnected as well when you're doing the job, and then test everything before you finally seal the tank back up. Like I said, I didn't show it in the video, but I did do a mock-up and I tested to make sure that the fuel pump was running before I put everything together. Last thing you want to do is get everything sealed up, turn the key, and then you got an issue. Other than that, you all are good to go. You know, it's not too hard to do. It took me a couple more hours than I should have, just because I didn't have all the tools that I actually needed, even though I said at the beginning I did. I was missing some stuff. I need to kind of get my my scrounge bag back up to par. Some extra stuff in there. Car's been sitting for like 2 months. You see the cobwebs. This is even after I drove it. Cobwebs all over it. So it's all good though. It's got a 450 fuel pump in there now. So when I'm ready to turn the boost up or do some more things to get some more power in the car, it's ready to go. So we can get some power, start getting maybe the 400 horsepower first, and then finish up the rest of the mods to get all the way up to 500. But I'm going to do another video tomorrow when I wash the car and talk about the disaster that I had with the company that painted my car. I'll talk about them. I'm still deciding if I want to name them or not. But if you're on Okinawa, you probably know about this body shop and the shadiness that goes with it. And I wish I knew that when I dropped the car off in the beginning. But yeah. All right, everyone. So just kind of closing up the video. One more thing, that ground wire, that extra ground wire that was sitting off to the side on that fuel pump itself that I was talking about, I'm not sure what that ground wire goes to, but with it hooked up or without it hooked up, the fuel pump still works good. I talked to one of the GTR experts on the island, Nori, just to see what he was talking about with it, and he says he don't even bother connecting it. I'm not sure what it's for. I did ground it regardless, but apparently it's not needed. The fuel pump worked regardless, so that's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. JDM Gearhead signing out. Stay tuned for the next video. We'll start trying to drop at least one a week. Peace.